Rudy Gobert is the most paid center ever in NBA history. This fact is exactly what made NBA fans shake their heads in December 2020 when the Utah Jazz big man signed his 5-year and $205 million contract extension. Shaq had this to say about this contract.
I'm looking at that BS contract that your boy from Utah just got.
Oh, yeah, what do you think about that contract?
Yeah,
Rudy, I mean, he got $200 million, Shaq.
200.
I'm not going to hate, but this should be an inspiration to all the little kids out there. If you average 11 points in the NBA, you can get 200 million.
Everybody knows O'Neal's skepticism when it comes to other dominant centers, but does he have a point? Are 16 points, 15 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game worth $35 million? Does Rudy's defensive presence make it a valid contract when he is so easily neutralized in the playoffs? Let's start from the very beginning.
Look at this, going up high, Gobert erasing.
There are only 17 players making more money than the Frenchman, with a couple of exceptions, which have seen their careers take a big hit recently. All of them are game changers on offense. I wouldn't say the same thing about Gobert. Looking at instant data, more than 80% of his offense comes from cutting to the rim after screens, and only 7% on individual post-ups. There is an easy explanation. With his back to the basket, Rudy looks like someone who just picked up the basketball for the first time in their life. Jazz have one set to put him in the position to score from there, this bumper screen, but it is used to create free baskets at the rim. Whenever he tries putting the ball on the ground, he either lacks skill or strength to get closer to the rim. Even Nemanja Bjelica, who for sure isn't famous for defensive purposes, can hold his position against the much taller Gobert. He is way more dangerous on switches, when you can just throw the ball over the top, or Rudy can try to seal his position practically under the rim. Allowing the Frenchman to catch the ball inside the smile equals to 2 points or a foul, because it's basically impossible to change anything at this point.
Layup, nearly a pass to Gobert. He's going to try to wedge it up. No, he's not. He's going to throw it down.
On any other touch inside the area, it's not given Gobert will convert. The Stifle Tower doesn't have the softest of touches or the footwork needed to avoid awkward-looking shots near the basket. Jazz center arrives at 15-point average by slamming down lobs after pick and rolls, cleaning up his teammates' mess on offensive rebounds, and converting almost 5 foul shots per game, while having a below-standard 70% rate from the stripe. Conley, Mitchell, or Joe Ingles have a privilege of throwing passes well over the rim, knowing that it's only Gobert that can get up and reach them. He is also a huge threat on offensive rebounds, especially when allowed a deep position in the paint. Missed three-pointers tend to go a long way out, but if there is a short rebound, you can be sure that the Jazz will have a second chance to score. Even boxed out, Gobert is a no match for the opponents because of unreal 7'9" or 2 meter and 35 centimeters wingspan.
Here's Royce, fires three. Rebound number 20. Big man, take it home! Gobert!
Lack of Gobert's individual skills limit Jazz options on offense, and if in the regular season the variety doesn't seem to be necessary, the playoffs are a different story. However, there are a couple details in his favor. Frenchman's size helps Jazz guards to get a lot of separation on screens and often allows them easy three-point attempts. In fact, Mike Conley is having 2 consecutive career years from outside, shooting the three with percentages never seen in his time with Memphis. Obviously, credits to him on improving the shot, but there is a bit of influence on Rudy's part too. Moreover, Gobert's alley-oop threat gives more space on drives to the basket too. Opposing bigs are dropping more often, and instead of stopping the ball, they retreat back with Gobert, keeping in mind that remaining in the middle would mean a high pass immediately. Because of this, Jazz guards might not meet any opponents all the way to the rim. As you can see, most of his offensive impact is not individual, and at the end of the video, you will find out why it's a problem.
Up for Gobert. Back out to Bogdanovich for three.
Rudy's offense might be limited, but we all know he earns millions of dollars for other reasons. It's being a defensive beast, a first-class rim protector that set him up for such a lucrative deal. If your team doesn't have the needed offensive weapons to get him out of the painted area, you are in for a long night. Shots will be swatted, the trajectories will be changed. We can say that Jazz have one of the best last line of defenses in NBA history. Usually, Utah's big man drops all the way down on pick and rolls, allowing everything but the most coveted shot in basketball, layup. Extra size arms allow him to contest even when the enemies seem to have created at least a meter of space for themselves. Open mid-range shots quickly become contested ones, and when they're not free in the first place, good luck swishing these with Gobert's hand in your face. Overall, there is no doubt that he is an elite defender and protects the paint like no other in the NBA.
Now Jokic, 22, 12, and 8 in the lane. Hook shot blocked by Gobert.
Unfortunately, there is always a downside for everything. A smarter opponent will use strength before shooting over. You can see here Andrew Wiggins bumping his shoulder into Gobert's chest twice to completely eliminate his block-shotting presence. The NBA's Defensive Player of the Year lacks power as he compensates it with his outrageous size. However, the biggest problem I see with Gobert doesn't lie here. He is a perfect option to defend classic teams with a true point guard and center. But he is very easily exposed against small ball teams or those who have superstar guards. Rudy protects the paint, but open threes and mid-ranges can be like layups on some evenings for Curry or Lillard. And if he goes up a bit higher, he doesn't have the footwork to stay in front. He is still influential, but his impact diminishes. And then the conversation comes to the playoffs, where matchups are everything. And this is where things get even worse. By now, almost every NBA team has a small ball lineup they can rely on. And the Clippers last year did exactly that. It all started against Luka and Dallas, but they kept using it against the Jazz too. And this meant Gobert guarding someone on the perimeter. How did it go? I will let you be the judges. First of all, the Frenchman guarding Paul George on the perimeter is definitely not optimal. Since the Clippers were playing only pick and pops, the Jazz were forced to switch every time, and it meant LA could target Gobert any possession they wanted. Okay, Rudy is still tall. It's hard to shoot over him, so the Clippers decided to target Mitchell or Jordan Clarkson with Gobert as a help defender. Money. As a big man and rim protector, the Frenchman went to help inside on all drives, when it was needed and when it was not. And this resulted in an amazing series for Terrence Mann, who found himself wide open not one, not two, not three. Well, you get the idea. In Game 6, Jazz were up by 22 at halftime and still lost, with Mann finishing with 39 points and 7 from 10 from deep. Gobert is simply not used playing this way. Imagine waiting for your opponents in the paint for 82 games and then suddenly finding yourself helping on drives and having to close out on three-pointers. These rotations have to be automatic, and you see Rudy struggling to arrive on time. Even if he did, he is not stopping Clippers guards on the perimeter. To be honest, neither did Mitchell or Clarkson. Just guards were actually a big reason why Gobert looked so helpless in the first place. They got constantly beaten one-on-one, which converted into help and recover situations to which Gobert is not used and good in. Having said all this, it's time for the final conclusion. So is Rudy Gobert worth a $205 million contract?
Rudy Gobert dominate you. Chuck, say one thing, I'm gonna punch you right in your face. I'm telling you right now.
Nobody can deny the fact that he is extremely influential in protecting the paint. But I honestly don't see why a player whose impact can be diminished so easily during the most important part of the season should be worth a max deal, especially when he can't compensate for this weakness by scoring more on the other side of the court. Let me know if you agree in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next video.